Fox Sports.
We are the Fox. We are the West.
Even through this losing skid, your Rangers are finding positives. The return of Adrian Beltre was a most welcome sight. His presence back in the lineup is an immeasurable boost. And Rougned Odor's return has been nothing short of spectacular. His spark and grit have been missed. Tonight, one of the most positive pickups of the season takes the mound when Wandy Rodriguez looks to put an end to the skid. It's the Rangers and the Oakland A's coming up next on Fox Sports Southwest. Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT Uverse TV. Well, a beautiful evening here at Globe Life Park. Rangers and the Oakland A's getting set to match up in the second game of this three-game series under beautifully blue skies. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Greaves, Steve Busby. Glad you could join us for this Wednesday night of Rangers baseball. Rangers trying to snap that mini three-game losing streak at the hands of the Oakland A's, and they have a guy on the mound tonight due to the Texas Rangers, Tom, that has not faced Oakland before, the only team that Wandy Rodriguez has never faced in his career.
Well, they're in for a treat tonight trying to hit that curveball, aren't they? You know, when you lose Yu Darvish and Derek Holland at the start of the season, you don't expect to find this kind of replacement having been released from another ball club. But Wandy Rodriguez has been a godsend. He's not only replaced one of those injured guys, but he's done almost the same kind of job that they would do. His ERA for the season is just a little bit above 3. In his last 6 starts, he's been terrific. He's undefeated. His ERA is 2.7. For the season, he's given up fewer hits than innings pitched. Not a lot of walks, a solid number of strikeouts. He's pitching pretty much like he did when he was with the Astros at the top of his game. I think that's what the Rangers are seeing right now, and not sure where they'd be without him.
Well, it'd be a hard thing to replace what Wandy Rodriguez has done so far this year for the Rangers. So hopefully he can keep it going tonight, get the Rangers out of this little bit of a losing skid they're in. He and his teammates, Prince Fielder, getting ready to lift the world off the backs of the Texas Rangers. We'll come back with the starting lineup and the first pitch right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealer. Visit your Texas Ford dealer now for great deals on America's best-selling brand. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T U-Burst TV. U-Burst has more live TV channels on the go than cable. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Well, a great night. Mild breezes blowing in from right center field. And before we get things underway, we'd like to welcome back Emily Jones, who made a miraculous recovery.
Thank you, Buzz. It is good to be back. Thankful to be back on the broadcast. And thankfully for these Texas Rangers, it's been quite some time since they've lost 3 straight games, looking to snap that skid tonight. And Jeff Bannister says it's a matter of getting back to the basics.
Swung the bat well. We just they scored more runs than we did, and more than anything else, I like that our defense showed up. I like that the at-bats showed up. We just got to continue to grind some of the at-bats. We did have some chances that we failed on. So, and more than anything else, we've got to get back to being nasty off the mound like we were there for a long stretch. And I believe that we're very capable, and we'll get back to that.
Yeah, Wandy, perhaps the perfect guy for this situation. You can't tell when he takes the mound if this team is riding a 10-game winning streak or a 10-game losing skid. So Wandy Rodriguez, pretty much the epitome of consistency so far this season. Hopefully he'll continue that trend tonight, guys.
All right, Emma, thank you. Well, and Tom's going to tell you about the Amica Oakland A's lineup.
The A's will start off with their center fielder, Billy Burns. Mark Canha gets the start in left field. Stephen Vogt back in the lineup at first base. Ben Zobrist will play second base tonight. He's batting fourth. Josh Begley is the catcher. He'll bat fifth. Billy Butler is the DH. The third baseman, Brett Lowry, bats seventh. Marcus Semien is the shortstop, and batting ninth tonight will be the right fielder, Sam Full.
And Wandy going to work in a hurry, and he fires strike one to Billy Burns. Our progressive scouting report for Wandy. Now, he has been on a good roll, and he looks to stay right there. Improved command of the breaking ball would be his, I guess, high on his wish list. And all of a sudden, Burns turning on one and driving it into the corner. And Burns can fly as Gallo goes in to pick it out and fires it back in, holding Burns to a leadoff 2-bagger. Well, Billy Burns now a 14-game hitting streak as he pounds his 6th double to lead off his ball game.
Yeah, we saw Burns last night. We've seen him in Oakland. He's getting a chance to play center field while Coco Crisp is on the disabled list, and not going to be that easy to get him out of the lineup the way he's playing right now. Average coming into the game is .320. He's hitting 26 of the last 27 games, playing a good center field. Not sure how you get him out of the lineup right now.
And Mark Canha, first ball swinging, he will get the job done as he grounds out to Rougned Odor, and on to third goes Burns. He is there with one out, and Stephen Vogt will be next.
Well, for a young, inexperienced major leaguer, pretty nice job by Canha right there. Obviously trying to hit the ball to the right side of the infield to move the runner.
Now let's take a look at the Ranger defense tonight. It's delivered to you by Brake Check. The outfield, you already have seen Joey Gallo out in left field. Leonis Martin will join him in center, and Ryan Rua in right. Mitch Moreland at first. Odor and Andrews up the middle. Adrian Beltre back at third. And Carlos Corporani is catching. As Wandy Rodriguez dealing to Stephen Vogt. The breaking ball stayed inside. Ball one. Vogt, the top RBI and home run man in the Oakland order. 13 home runs, 51 driven in as he takes a strike to even things up. Also hitting at .294. 51 RBI, second in the American League. Rangers playing the infield all the way in here in the first inning. Well, last night, an 8-6 ball game, and you'd figure that maybe these two teams had used up the run allotment at least for most of the series. Billy Burns down there at third, and Vogt going after that high fastball. 2-2. Stephen Vogt, a 5-game hitting streak. And you can see against the Rangers this year, he has terrorized Texas pitching. 9 games, he has hit .375 with 3 home runs and 9 RBI. Wandy working from the stretch. 2-2 is hit in the air to left field. Gallo in a hurry. He can't get there. It's by him, and it will go to the wall. Burns will score into second with the RBI double of Stephen Vogt. And the A's very quickly here in the first take a 1-0 lead.
Well, the Rangers are catching the A's right in the middle of their best streak of the season. They're averaging 7 runs a game over the last 9 games. Stephen Vogt, a .387 hitter with men in scoring position, gets a curveball outside but up. Had Joey Gallo been able to catch that, Vogt would just have added to his major league lead of sacrifice flies. He's had 7 already this season.
Ben Zobrist trying to bunt his way aboard and maybe catch the Rangers back defensively, but he missed it. Joey Gallo out there in left field, playing a very tough sun field here in the early innings at Globe Life Park. He had a 7 o'clock start for the first inning or so. That sun really bearing down on the left field portion of the ballpark. Gallo using his glove to shade his eyes, using the sunglasses to cut the glare down. Zobrist takes that breaking ball in the dirt. 2 strikes now.
And Zobrist is a contact hitter. He's walked 18 times. He's only struck out 13 times. Always a patient hitter, always a guy that takes a walk. He's had years where he's walked 90 times.
That is in tight. 2-2.
Unlike a lot of the A's hitters, he's hot right now. He's in a good streak. Last 9 games where the A's have averaged 7 runs a game, he's hit 400.
There's the numbers on that the last 9-game run. 15 runs scored by Zobrist and 10 runs driven in. It's good production.
Say he's a key component of that offense over the last 9 games. It's averaging 7 runs a game.
Well, he gets fisted right back up the middle under the glove of Rodriguez. But Odor there to make a nice play and throw on Zobrist. Wandy fanned on it. It was to his glove side, and Wandy reached down and came up empty. But fortunately, Rougned Odor able to handle it for out number 2.
And fortunately, it was a runner that Rougned had time to do that with. Well, I don't think he ever touched the ball, did he?
Wandy, the most astonished player or person in the ballpark, that he didn't come up with that. He had to check his glove right there to make sure it wasn't in it. But Odor able to make the play. And with 2 outs now, Stephen Vogt went on over to third. So he's 90 feet away. And Josh Phegley, the catcher, will step in. Phegley had a big night last night. Drove in 3, had a home run and a double. Breaking ball stays just outside. Phegley now hitting at .297. His home run last night is 4th of the year. 13 RBI. Wandy back to the plate. You know, whether Corcoran got crossed up on that pitch. He certainly stabbed at it rather oddly. Target way inside. I guess it was just that it missed by the full width of the plate.
Yeah.
Now 3-0 to Phegley. Now Phegley hitting 5th in the order. If he extends his first inning, Billy Butler, the DH, waits to be next.
But if you go by who's hot and who's not, I guess you'd pitch around Phegley to get to Butler. Phegley, .340 hitter over the last 20 games. Butler's been struggling a little bit. Butler, a veteran hitter, though. Kind of guy that can come out of a slump at any time.
And that pitch outside, we'll find out if that decision is the right one. Wandy just missing a 4-pitch walk. Puts Phegley aboard, and we'll send Butler to the plate. Now, Billy Butler, a .252 average overall. He has 5 home runs. He has driven in 32, but it has been a tale of 2 different seasons for Billy Butler. Hitting just 196 over his last 14 games. This is a guy who drove in 12 runs in his first 16 of the year. 1 ball, no strikes. Butler 0 for 3 last night. The hit by pitch there, the numbers for the last 2 weeks of play. And Rodriguez has that breaking ball hang outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Wandy getting ready to throw his 20th pitch here in the first inning. And that's low, 3-0. He has fallen behind Butler. You have to wonder if you turn a guy loose that's struggling offensively on a 3-0 pitch. See if you can't get him going.
I think managers generally like to do that, especially with a veteran hitter.
And that one is high and outside. Ball 4, back-to-back 2-out walks. The bases are now loaded with Brett Lawrie coming up. And Mike Maddox is going to pay a visit to the mound.
Well, although I guess you wouldn't know it by the first inning, the A's have struggled against left-handed pitching this year. They're 0-7 against left-handed starters on the road this year. 3-13 overall. Sure want to get Lowry here to keep it from being a big first inning.
Yeah.
The A's have been scoring a lot of runs. Lowry's a pretty good hitter this year with men in scoring position. He's had a good month of June as well. Struggled in April, got better in May, and he's been terrific in June.
Now here the A's got for Josh Donaldson, big offseason trade. They felt they would get a better defensive player than Brett Lawrie, but maybe not as much power and run producing ability as Donaldson, but people they got along with tonight's starter, Kendall Graveman, came over from Toronto. There's a high drive hit to left center field. Leonis Martin going back. He is looking. That ball is gone. A grand slam by Brett Lawrie in the first pitch from Wandy Rodriguez. And the A's have put a 5 spot on the board in the first. Back-to-back 2-out walks. The first pitch to Lowry leaves the ballpark, and the A's have put a very crooked number up in the top of the first inning.
Well, Wandy's been hurt in the first inning by 2 hanging curveballs. One Stephen Vaught drove to left field, and that one Lowry hit out of the ballpark for a grand slam. It's not Wandy's best curveball. It just kind of floats into the middle of the plate. And when he's throwing a curveball well, it's sharper, quicker, and down below the knees where you got a chance. Where that last one was, pretty tough to miss that one.
Well, Lowry with a grand slam. Marcus Semien on the very next pitch. Single to center field. Well, the inning just will not come to an end. And Wandy now facing Sam Full, the 9th hitter for the Oakland A's. They have batted around in this inning. Full the .213 average, 5+ run innings this year. Oakland now with a dozen of them. They are 2 behind Toronto, most in the American League. Full, no home runs. He has driven in 10. Getting the start in right field tonight, Josh Reddick, because of his struggles against left-handers, out of the lineup. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Wandy, a long look in. Now the left-hander's ready. And calls strike 3. Knee-high outside corner. Full caught window shopping. That'll do it. But the A's sent 9 men to the plate. 5 of them scored after a half inning. The A's 5, the Rangers coming up. about the Southwest Airlines Texas Rangers lineup.
Rougned Odor gets the nod as the leadoff hitter again. Ryan Rua will bat second. Prince Fielder, the DH, is third, followed by Adrian Beltre and Mitch Moreland. Joey Gallo bats sixth in left field. Elvis Andrus is the shortstop, batting eighth. Leonis Martin, and the catcher batting ninth is Carlos Corporon.
And Kendall Graveman, right-hander, going to work from Alabama. 3-4 this year, and I was going to tell you, the sinker, cutter, curveball, the basic pitches. I'm going to tell you how little support he'd gotten from his A's teammates as far as runs were concerned. I think I'll shelve that till next time, since they put a 5 spot on the board. Rangers mistreated him pretty badly in the first start of the year in Oakland, and now he's got some chirping coming out of the Rangers dugout. And Dan Iasonia is saying, okay, enough. Tempers flaring a little bit, and a 5-run first inning will do that to you. Get a little hot under the collar. That pitch outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Rougned Odor.
You're talking about lack of support, Buzz, in his last 3 starts. I think that's probably what you were alluding to. He's 0-2, but he's only given up 4 runs in 22 innings.
Yeah, that's tough to do. Rougned slowly coming out of the box, and looked like he might have rolled that ankle as he took out of the batter's box. Came up hobbling noticeably going down to first. Rougned not consulting with any of the Rangers medical staff. Rolled the back ankle.
Yeah, you see his left ankle.
No, 1 out. Ryan Rua now up there. One 0 pitch. That is low and outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Rougned looked like he's walking okay in the dugout. That could have been one of those things that just grabbed him real quick and let loose, hopefully.
Probably scared him right when it happened.
Yeah. Rua, 182 hitter, a home run and 1 RBI. Takes a strike from Graveman. Rua's home run came Sunday in Chicago. He is 2 for 2 in past matchups against Kendall Graveman. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Graveman, a 6'2", 185-pound right-hander from Alexander City, Alabama. Count is now full, so Ryan trying to get aboard here with 1 out in the first. He'll be followed by Prince Fielder. Payoff pitch on the way. Lowry dives, comes up with it, scrambles up, and throws out Rua. A nice play by Brett Lowry. So 2 gone. Let's take a look at the rest of the A's defense in support of Kendall Graveman tonight. Outfield of Canna, Burns, and Fuld, left, center, and right. Vogt at first, Zobrist and Semien up the middle. You've seen Lowry at third on 2 plays, and Josh Begley is behind the plate. Kendall Graveman on the hill here this evening with a 5-0 lead and 2 outs in the bottom of the first. A little bit low to Prince Fielder.
Nice range to the left. Good, strong, accurate throw across the diamond.
One ball and 1 strike. Fielder at .338. That's 3rd in the American League, and as is his .408 on base percentage. 11 home runs, 47 driven in. 1-1 pitch. Left center field, slicing back toward Canna. And he makes the catch fairly deep into that alley, but that is out number 3. Rangers gone in order after 1. It's the A's 5, the Rangers nothing. Out to an early lead, and Odor and company trying to hold down Oakland here in the second. Get back to the bench and score some runs. Billy Burns, though, who doubled to start things, hits one in the gap in right center. That is going to be extra bases. Burns steaming into second. His second consecutive two-base hit.
Burns likes to hit early in the count. He's jumped on a couple of fastballs early in his ball game. Double to left, doubles to right. Trying to get a fastball right down the middle of the plate. Good swing on it. Continues to hit.
You know, I'm not sure I've seen a team keep a statistic about what your batting average is when you put the first pitch in play. But they do have one for Burns. He's now hitting over 500 when he puts that first pitch in play. That's pretty indicative that it just didn't happen tonight. Our T-Mobile game changer. I'm talking about Billy Burns out there. Ranks since his recall on May 2nd. He is 7th with that .320 average, 15 stolen bases. First, 21 infield hits and no errors and 106 chances in center field. Coco who?
Yeah, really. That's an excellent pickup. This is a kid that was a 32nd round draft choice, basically an afterthought in the draft by Washington. Then he's traded for Oakland for, you know, kind of a journeyman bullpen guy, left-handed reliever, Jerry Blevins, and at least 200 at bats into the 2015 season. He's a frontline center fielder and leadoff hitter. Credit to him. Come a long way since seeing what the scouts thought about him coming out into the draft a few years ago.
Late bloomer,
I guess. He probably had some speed coming out of college. Right. Probably a question whether he had the bat to hit at the big league level. Based on what we're seeing, he's got the bat. He's got some line drive capabilities.
Anna drives one deep to right center. Leonis Martin back and makes the catch. As he stepped onto the warning track, Burns tags and advances to third. Canna gave it a ride about 385 feet from home plate.
Canna's gaining some major points with his manager for those two at bats. Both times he came up with Burns on second and nobody out. His job is to move the runner to third base. First time up, he went to the opposite field, hit a ground ball and did it. This time still noticeably trying to go the other way. Drove a ball deep to right center field and accomplished the same thing. So he's 0 for 2, but he has two at bats that I'm certain that the manager for the A's, Bob Melvin, is very happy with that 0 for 2.
Very productive outs.
Yes,
as they say. And that'll make a manager not only sit up and take notice, but appreciate the way you approach the game.
Well, basically, it's a young hitter giving himself up for the team. Perfectly willing to make an out. Obviously, you're hoping to drive the ball and get a base hit, but if you don't, you're trying to move the runner, and in both cases he did.
Fastball outside to Stephen Vogt. 3 balls and no strikes. Mark Canha right there in the top step. Today's dugout, a pretty lively place to be the last couple of weeks. 3-0 pitch in at the knees, and it's 3-1. Vogt had an RBI double his first time up. Drove in his 52nd run of the year. Rangers again playing the infield all the way in. And Vogt shoots one through the drawn in infield. A bouncer into right, gets by Rougned Odor. In to score is Billy Burns, and it's a 6-0 Oakland lead.
I've said it a number of times this year about Stephen Vogt, but that guy can hit. He's not a 22-year-old prospect. He's been around for a while, finally getting a chance to play every day at the big league level. And all he's doing is hitting about .390 with men in scoring position. Among the league leaders in a lot of offensive categories, and it's like a shoo-in to be an all-star this year.
Pitch is in at the knees to Ben Zobrist for strike one. And Vogt's a shoo-in for the all-star team if they trade him to Kansas City. That apparently is the only way you get voted on it.
Yeah, if they turned him into a pitcher, he'd make the all-star team.
There you
playing
go.
For them.
There you go. Zobrist a ground ball to second his first time up.
You're talking about Billy Burns being acquired for a journeyman middle reliever. Stephen Vogt was acquired from Tampa Bay for cash considerations a couple of years ago. Talk about a couple of frontline acquisitions for nothing. Burns and Vogt certainly qualify there. I'm not sure how Vogt was regarded in 2013 when they acquired him for cash considerations, which probably wasn't a lot of cash. But Burns is right now a frontline leadoff hitter, and Vogt a very good middle of the order hitter.
Zobrist sends one to pretty deep center field, but with room, Leonis Martin backpedals to make the grab. That is out number 2, and before Josh Fegley steps in, let's welcome in Jim Knox.
Oh, I appreciate it, Buzz. Dollar Dog Night. This guy already polished 5 hot dogs. How about that? Hey, something new here going on this year. The Texas Rangers Baseball Foundation and Prince Fielder have come together with a new program that is going to bat against bullying. Now, they had a contest. Students would write in and find out, give us some good ideas on how to help your school out. Well, Jordan Turner was the winner, and she talks about meeting Prince.
My essay.
Josh Fegley driving it out to dead center field, his second home run in as many nights. And Oakland at it again. They have upped their lead. It's now 8-0 A's.
Again, Fegley is just another hot A's hitter. 340 coming into the game in his last 19 ball games. Got a walk and a home run. Had a huge game last night. Boy, right now it's hard to find someone in the A's lineup who's not hot.
Well, the coolest one is the guy at the plate, I guess, Billy Butler.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a walk that certainly hurt Wandy in the first inning.
Butler takes the next pitch inside. That tail of the tape on that one, 413 feet. And a quick rejection by the Ranger fans out there.
Well, you might wonder why no one's warming up in the bullpen. The Rangers called up Michael Choice today. And right now they only have 6 pitchers in the bullpen. They've had 8 at times, 7 usually. So the bullpen a little thin tonight. Wandy's going to be asked to try to throw some more pitches, get some more innings before the Rangers go to the bullpen. Alex Claudio was sent out. There's Michael.
Two balls, 2 strikes to Billy Butler. Got him swinging. Upstairs with a fastball. Wandy gets his second strikeout, but the A's score 3 more times on 3 hits. And nobody left. After 1.5, it is Oakland 8 and the Rangers nothing. Is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealer. Visit your Texas Ford dealer now for great deals on America's best-selling brand. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Geico, 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. Well, 8-0 Oakland as they have put up 5 in the first and 3 in the second. Adrian Beltre now trying to get something going for the Rangers to try and chip away, and he bangs one deep to left center field. Back at the wall is Canna, and he makes the catch. Thought Adrian might have gotten it. Came up just a bit short, right at the 390 mark.
Canna tends to play a little bit deep in left field, and he's reeled in a couple of well-hit balls by Fielder and Beltre, the last 2 Ranger hitters. A hanging slider, hanging cutter. And Adrian, I thought he hit that ball a little better than that as well. Canna's able to run it down right in front of the 390 sign.
No, one long out. Now Mitch Moreland will come up against Graveman. Mitch takes a strike. Moreland at 292 with 8 home runs and 33 driven in. He is 1 for 1 in the only matchup he's had against Graveman. That was a home run. Pulls this one sharply into right and under the glove of Zobrist. Oh, he defeated the shift by hitting it in the hole. And Mitch Moreland aboard with the first Ranger hit of the night, a 1-out single.
Well, there's not much room to hit a ball between the first baseman and the second baseman with that alignment. But Mitch was able to hit it hard enough, locate it well enough to get it by Zobrist. Sogard played second base last night. He made a lot of plays out there. The Rangers hit into the shift a number of times last night.
Now Joey Gallo will step up. Gallo hitting at 221. Joey not wasting any time. Here's Moreland's base hit. You got to hit it reasonably hard to get it through a shift.
You do.
And the second baseman's playing that deep.
It's one thing to hit it exactly between them, but then you have to hit it hard enough so the second baseman can't come over and catch it. And at this stage, so Eric Sogard probably has a little bit more range than Zobrist does. Zobrist a very dependable fielder no matter where you play him. Sogard maybe a little more accomplished in the range department.
1-2. And Zobrist, we might remind folks, coming off that knee surgery of a month or so ago, and maybe not back to 100% as far as his range is concerned. Joey in the last 8 ball games or so really scuffling at the plate. 1-2 pitch. That ball's hammered but pulled foul. That was a rope into the seats. Normally you wouldn't need a glove out there that far away from home plate and in foul territory, but with Gallo hitting, be a good idea. Joey 5 home runs, 10 driven in. Got him swinging. Graveman went down with a cutter and got the strikeout. 2 away. Elvis Andrus will be next.
Well, Graveman started this season in the rotation for the A's. You see that well-located cutter. He went 1-2 with an ERA over 8 in his first 4 starts. Got sent back to the minor leagues. Pitched very well in AAA. Had several starts down there, and since he's been recalled, pitched very well here. His record is only 2-2, but his ERA is 2.27 in the 6 starts since he returned from AAA.
And Elvis shoots one of the hole. Simeon, the jump throw, and they get Moreland at second base. What a play by the shortstop Marcus Simeon. Takes a base hit away from Elvis. Rangers gone in the second, no runs. 1 hit and 1 left. A 9-pitch inning for Graveman after 2, 8-0 Oakland.
The Sunshine Kids, that's right. Mary Cameron, you guys having a good time at the game. Before the game, what happened?
We got a special meet and greet with Derek Holland, who's just an incredible fan of him. He's an incredible fan of Sunshine Kids. We also got a special shout out on the field, and so I think the kids are having a pretty good time. And
Sunshine Kids from all around the Dallas-Fort Worth area, what is this about?
So Sunshine Kids, we're an organization that does events for kiddos with cancer, and so we come in during a season where it's a pretty tough time, and we give them something fun and awesome to look forward to. And so we wouldn't be able to do it without incredible people like Derek.
There we go. Well, appreciate it. And thanks for coming out tonight. Good to see everyone here. Hopefully a Ranger comeback with you guys in the house. Appreciate it. Thanks, Buzz.
All right, Noxie, thank you.
I've done a couple of caravans with Derek and Mitch Moreland where we've been to children's hospitals, and I don't think I've seen two players that are better with young kids than Mitch and Derek. Derek is terrific. He seems to say the right thing. The kids seem to identify with him, and Mitch the same way. They're both just great around kids. So I'm not surprised to see Derek in that little video getting along so well with the kids.
And call strike 3 as Lowry got straightened up by a fastball that came back to the inside corner. That is out number 1. First time tonight that Wandy Rodriguez has retired the first hitter of an inning. And before Marcus Semien steps in, let's send it over to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. All right, Dana, thank you. The Rangers, after tomorrow's game, will get a chance to see Josh Donaldson and the Blue Jays in person. Start a 3-game series up there on Friday. Adrian Beltre with his first opportunity at third base. Throws out Semien. There are 2 gone for Sam Fuld.
A little better curveball right there from Wandy. A little sharper, better location. And the result is a ground ball to third and an out. Been hurt today on a couple of high curveballs, hanging curveballs. Then the Vogt hit, and then the grand slam that Lowry hit.
Fuld called out on strikes back in the first inning. Wandy Rodriguez back to the plate. And it's 2 balls and no strikes. Fuld back and forth last year between the A's and the Twins. Playing off waivers a couple of times. Now back with Oakland in a backup role in the outfield. Takes a strike here, and it's 3-1. Fuld last year ended up hitting .239 in a 113 game split between Oakland and Minnesota. Pulls this one on the right side. Odor knocks it down, recovers, throws too late. That ball came up, almost got Rugnet in the throat. It didn't look like his upper chest or maybe the shoulder.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to be a routine play till the ball bounced. The ball came up. A lot of spin on it. Watch this last hop. Looks like a routine hop, but it comes up much higher than Rugnet anticipated. When you see it in slow motion like that, it doesn't look like it's that tough a play. But when you see it in real action and you see how high that ball bounced and Rugnet's reaction to it, you see it's a lot tougher than it looked in slow motion.
Billy Burns, first ball swinging, a towering pop foul. Adrian Beltre over there to take a look, but it's back in about 6 rows. Now this is ruled an error. See what you think. That kind of a hop. Pretty tough to field that.
I'd be looking for a base hit if I was the hitter.
And Odor, for the time being anyway, charged with the error on the play.
It looked like a simple play off the bat. But that last hop, I think, was a little bit more than a simple hop. See, if you saw the hop before that, it just no way you could anticipate a bigger hop after it.
That's one of those, you hear talk about the third hop, the overspin, where on the third hop it just shoots straight up in the air almost.
Yeah, and I guess you see that from time to time, but it's tough to anticipate it when you're out there fielding it.
Burns fouls back the next pitch. Still a ball and 2 strikes.
Well, that's exactly what it looked like. Tough to see the spin on a ball. I guess it's a little easier if you're down on the field. But when you see a ball hop like that, you pretty much can identify that that was what it was. Hit right on top of the ball and created that kind of spin.
Chopper into the hole. Elvis, a jump throw is too late. The only place Elvis could go with that ball was to second base, and getting a good break was Sam Fultz, so he beat the throw, and Billy Burns with his speed, there's no way you're going to have a play on him, so he gets a base hit. And there are 2 aboard with 2 out. Billy Burns now with 3 hits tonight, his first 3 times up.
When Burns gets enough at bats, he's going to be in the top 5 in the league in hitting if he keeps swinging the bat like this. He's a guy that has speed, so he can benefit from bunting and infield hits. He's had 21 infield hits this year. But he's also swinging the bat too, driving the ball in the gaps.
I think that last one they may rule as number 22.
Yep, exactly.
Burns 6 more now than Jose Iglesias. Mark Canha twice has come up with Burns at second base and nobody out. He has moved the runner over each time with a ground ball and a fly ball. No such obligation in this at bat. Canha, a 240 hitter, 8 home runs, 26 driven in. He is up among the league leaders for rookies in most of the offensive categories, second in home runs with 8. Takes the breaking ball that's low and inside. Tied for second in RBI with 26. 4th in runs scored and hits. And he's had an all-around very solid year for his initial campaign at the big league level. You got Fultz at second and Burns at first. Now a ball and 2 strikes.
Canha was selected off a AAA roster in the Rule 5 draft in December and then traded to the A's. Well, he goes by the same rules as if the A's were the ones that selected him in that draft. He has to stay in the big leagues, but he's not a guy you have to worry about keeping in the big leagues. He's kind of earning his keep in the big leagues.
Wandy got inside on him and Canha able to fight it off back behind home plate.
Canha has some versatility. He's played the outfield. He's played first base. Very, very hot in April. Very cold in May. Picking it up again in June. Surprisingly, he's at 125. Lower than that now against left-handed pitching. Yeah. He's at almost 300 against righties and a little over 100 against lefties.
Got him swinging. Wandy, a big bender, and he gets the strikeout. No runs, a hit, an error, and 2 men are left after 2.5. It's the A's 8, the Rangers nothing. A rare weekday matinee. That's tomorrow afternoon, 1:05. First pitch, and if you get to the ballpark early, you can enjoy a special wildlife education presentation from the Dallas Zoo. Visit TexasRangers.com for tickets, or you can call 972-RANGERS extension 3 for special pricing on groups of 20 or more. Now, Leonis Martin leading off here in the Ranger half of the third inning. An 8-0 Oakland lead. Leonis, 234 average. He has been scuffling a bit of late at the plate. Had a two-hit game the other day in Chicago. Had the last two at-bats where he had a single and a home run. This time he hits a two-hopper to Zobrist. That is out number one. Next will be Carlos Corporan. Now, Kendall Graveman, pretty economical tonight. He has 7 outs in the ball game. He's used 26 pitches to get those 7 outs. And as you would figure with him, with that pretty good sinker, more ground balls than fly balls tonight. 4 ground outs along with a strikeout. Switch hitting catcher Carlos Corporan, 185 average with a couple of home runs and 11 RBI. He looks at strike one. Carlos making his 26th start behind the plate tonight. Rangers 13-12 in his previous starts. And Zobrist getting a workout this inning. That is out number 2. That'll take the Rangers back to the top of the order for Rougned Odor. Talked about Graveman coming over from Toronto on the deal that brought Brett Lowry and Sean Nolan, Franklin Barreto, all in exchange for Josh Donaldson. It stocked up the A's pretty well. Left side of the infield, pop up to Brett Lowry, and that'll do it. A 6-pitch inning for Kendall Graveman. Rangers go very quietly in order. After 3, Oakland 8, Texas nothing. Special Fields of Fashion pregame event. Your ticket includes a pregame buffet in the Hall of Fame and a merchandise goodie bag worth $75. A Q&A with the Rangers' wives and 15% off Rangers merchandise, plus 15% off of Kendra Scott jewelry, and a ticket to the game against the Astros, and a whole lot more if that's not quite enough. Visit TexasRangers.com/fashion to learn more and to get your tickets. Top of the fourth inning. Stephen Vogt is leading things off, and we had to get some more help up here in the booth. Tom and I were not handling, so Mark McLemore dropping by, see if he can both calm down the A's and get the Rangers going.
Fellas, I really wish I could do it. I am in the same boat you're in right now. Not able to help.
Right now, Glenn Kuiper and Ray Fosse are just doing a number on us, Buzz. We're getting out announced tonight.
Yeah, we are.
8-0.
Yeah, they're having a pretty good game over there. Yeah. We don't sound very well.
What, 2 against 3? We're down.
Yeah,
well, we got 3 now. Now's the time to make up some ground.
3 on 2. And unfortunately, it's not going to be a fast break. I know that. There's
Ray Fosse on the left and Glenn Kuiper on the right. Ray Fosse, all-star catcher.
Vogt lines one to left and coming on to reach down at the last second. Joey Gallo. That ball tailing and diving away from Gallo, but he stayed with it nicely. That's out number 1. Vogt finally retired tonight after a single and a double and 2 runs driven in.
Gallo looks pretty comfortable out in left field for a guy that hasn't played out there very much. Getting used to seeing what a left-handed slicing line drive looks like when you're going toward the line.
Slow roller to third. Beltre, the barehanded throw is wide, not in time.
What a try. Seen that combination. Nice play by an infielder and a scoop at first base by Mitch.
That's the last thing that we had not seen from Adrian other than a home run. He had broken out every other phase of his games. I think we can pronounce him back now.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. This is a tough play. He just makes it look so easy.
And Mitch makes that pick at first base and kept his foot on the bag.
Wow, look at that.
Well, there's a better first baseman in the league picking balls out of the dirt than what we've seen from Mitch this year.
Goes down as a base hit for Zobrist, his first of the night.
That's not that easy either, is it, Mac?
No.
Fielding the ball like that.
Well, you're coming in, number one, you're coming in hard. You're off balance. You know you're going to be off balance. You've got to barehand it and come up on the next step and get rid of it and throw a strike. Beltre just makes it look easy, and it is not that easy.
If you took 100 guys, ball players, and put them out there and had them do the same thing, you'd have 99 shoulder injuries after they tried to make that throw. The arm be flying off and parts going every which way.
And the ball more than likely will be down the right field line.
Yeah. 1-2, the count to Josh Phegley. Got him on the fist, and a little pop-up will reach the seats just past the Ranger dugout. One and two. Phegley has walked and scored. That came back in the first, and a two-run home run to center field his last time up. This ball's ripped fair down the third baseline. Gallo going to make a throw to third. Beltre with a tag, and they got it.
So Joey Gallo looks comfortable in left field. I guess he showed it with that play. Played the carom nicely and came up and threw a strike to third nicely. Call was out, being looked at right now by the A's. Phegley just killing the ball in these 2 games.
Well, the shot from overhead.
I think he's out. I don't think he ever touched the bag, did he?
Not with his foot, it didn't look like.
No, he took that foot and slid past it. Came off.
Came off, didn't he?
Yeah.
Touched it and came off.
Sure did. So that's what the A's saw too. They have decided not to challenge that, and you can see why. So Joey Gallo with his first assist in the outfield. And a strong throw into third. Played the carom very nicely off that angled wall down that left field line. Well, on the play, Phegley at first. Be credited with a base hit. And Billy Butler lofts a high fly ball deep down the right side, but that is going to be off the sidewall up there.
Very nice job of playing the carom off the wall. Very nice job of getting a good strong throw into Adrian too. Emphatic call by Lance Barrett at third base too.
He wound up to ring him up.
He did. That might have been a rotator cuff injury right there. Talking about Adrian hurting his arm.
Yeah, Lance Barrett not pinwheeling that arm around, so it must feel okay. Yeah, that hurts too bad for him to lift it up. 2-1 pitch. And Butler takes low and inside. Boom.
Whoa.
That's great. Umpire punches you out and then looks at you.
Okay, call me out, but man, don't make me look bad.
Three and two now. Butler a walk and a run scored. That came back in the first inning. Last time up, Butler went down swinging. 8-0 Oakland. And Wandy Rodriguez trying to keep it right there. Pitch fouled away. Well, Josh Fagley, who was off and moving, will head back to first base, and we'll try it again. Butler a .251 average. Came over as a free agent acquisition. A 3-year deal that the A's gave him to be their DH for the next 3 years. Outside, ball 4. Down to second goes Fagley. Billy Butler aboard for the second time via the walk tonight. And it'll bring up Brett Lowry. Wandy a little frustrated with himself. He's up to 90 pitches now. Rodriguez, that's his third walk of the evening. Brett Lowry, the grand slam home run that capped off the first inning. He lines one off the umpire. Second base umpire Dale Scott couldn't get out of the way.
Wow.
Boy, that drilled him.
Boy, that was not a softly hit ball either.
Matt Lucero, the assistant trainer for the Rangers, is going to go out and tend to Dale Scott. And he is positioned up with the runners at first and second.
That was going to be a tough one for Rubnet. I don't know if it would have reached him in the air or short hopped him. He would have had a shot at it, though.
Yeah.
Tailed right into him, too. He tried to go out, get out of the way, but that's the way the ball was going.
Upper left thigh. That, as they say, is going to leave him out. Dale Scott, the veteran umpire, and fortunately, he doesn't think it's very fortunate right now, but he was not hit above the waist, the chest, or anything like that. And talking about the danger zone. And Dale going to slowly walk off on the Matt Lucero, go in and try to get some treatment on it. Brett Lowry apologizing so that next time he has Dale Scott behind the plate, Dale won't hold it against him.
He won't expand that strike zone.
That's right.
Yeah, Lowry's thanking him. He's probably thinking that Rubnet Odor is going to pick that one, throw him out at first base.
Well, that's going to go down as a base hit for Lowry. His second hit of the night. And it loads the bases. And it's going to bring up Marcus Semien. Marcus Semien 1 for 2, had a first inning single. Bases full of A's with Fagley at third, Butler at second, and now Lowry at first. Umpires now going with just 3 umpires, 2 on the bases, so they'll have to help each other out. Don't have a third base umpire as such now. And Semien, a chopper that Beltre will go the short way. And that'll do it. Well, the A's kept off the scoreboard. No runs on 3 hits. They leave 3. After 3.5, the A's 8 and the Rangers nothing. Seventh day of the 7th month. The Rangers are bringing you $7 upper reserved and upper box tickets. Plus, Papa John's is activating the Rangers 7 special all day. Visit TexasRangers.com and use the online coupon code 777 to get your tickets for the Diamondbacks and Rangers ball game on July 7th. First 15,000 fans 14 and older will also get a Rangers Hawaiian t-shirt courtesy of Fox Sports Southwest. 777 day out here at the ballpark. Ryan Rua is starting things off for the Rangers here in the 4th inning. 8-0 Oakland. Rua out on a nice play by Brett Lowry, the third baseman, first time up. Rangers with just 1 hit through the first 3 innings against Kendall Graveman. That was a 1-out single by Mitch Moreland in the 2nd.
Well, Graveman has been kind of using that sinker, cutter, slider, whatever it is he's throwing, repertoire pretty well. 24 strikes, only 7 balls. A little bit of a curveball right there. Had Ryan out in front of it.
Coming on, Mark Canha makes the catch. That is out number 1. So Graveman doing a good job keeping him a little bit off balance too. Folks, on Friday, the 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup continues in the quarterfinals. China squares off against Alex Morgan and Team USA in a win-or-go-home matchup. Coverage begins at 6 p.m. on your local Fox station. And catch the whole tournament streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Now, Prince Fielder with the 2nd hit of the night for the Rangers, shooting it the other way for the base hit.
Taking that fastball on the outside part of the plate the other way, get a knock, get somebody on base.
Prince talking with Stephen Vogt down there, a couple of the top RBI producers in the American League. Here's Beltre. It's a double play grounded to Semien. They will turn that over. Zobrist in the middleman, and that'll do it. Well, Adrian hit it on the button, but the wrong part of the infield. A 5-pitch inning. The Rangers go down with a hit and nobody left. After 4, 8-0 Oakland. Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by the Mazda 6. J.D. Power has awarded the Mazda 6 highest ranked vehicle appeal among midsize cars. Well, it has been all Oakland through the first 4 innings. 8 runs on 11 hits for the A's. No runs on 2 hits for the Rangers. And Wandy Rodriguez night is over after 4 innings of work. Anthony Bass, who worked an inning in last night's ball game, comes out of the bullpen to take over. And first ball swinging, Sam Full pops one into shallow center field that Elvis makes the call and the catch on, 1 gone.
Center fielder Billy Burns.
Anthony Bass taking over for Wandy Rodriguez, who worked 4 innings, gave up 11 hits, 8 runs. They were all earned. Had 3 walks and 4 strikeouts. Billy Burns up for the 4th time this evening. He is 3 for 3 with a couple of doubles and a single. Talk about a spark plug. Boy, this guy is high energy for the A's of late. Pops that pitch up. May stay in play. Elvis angling out into foul territory, and he makes a nice running catch. 2 gone.
I mentioned earlier that the A's had struggled this year against lefties. They're 3-13 coming into the game against left-handed starters. 0-7 on the road. Their batting average against left-handed pitchers was .227. They definitely turned that trend around in this game. A pretty good day against Wandy, who's been a terrific pitcher for the Rangers all season long. Just had a bad night tonight. Really didn't locate his fastball or his curveball like he normally does.
Well, line drive into right field. That's going to settle in for a base hit. That off the bat of Mark Canha. Well, he has his first hit of the night. He is 1 for 4 and hangs on at first. And Stephen Vogt will come up. Now, do you think that's one of those statistics of what you do against left-handers that overall it probably plays out, but in any given matchup with a hot team like Oakland, you throw it by the boards?
I said it because I read it. I don't think it meant a whole lot.
Not now.
No, I think they're in a good streak right now, and they caught Wandy on a bad night, and that combination really would make whatever stat it was kind of meaningless. The other thing, Buzz, a lot of it could have happened early in the season when they were playing poorly. They weren't hitting. Maybe they faced a lot of lefties back then, but there's really nothing about their team that would lead you to believe that over a long period of time they're going to have that kind of a struggle, especially the way they're swinging the bat right now.
Yeah. Well, on this team, as we talked in the pregame about, Bob Melvin's team has won 7 out of 9 and just gone completely nuts offensively.
Yeah.
I don't think they care who's out there right now.
No, I don't either. Although I'd like to see him face Chris Sale, Clayton Kershaw, and Zach Greinke. See how hot they are.
Yeah, that would be a test.
3 days in a row.
Yeah.
That would be a test. 2 balls and a strike. Vogt tips that right off the end of his bat. It's 2-2. Stephen Vogt tonight, RBI double in the first, RBI single in the second. Last time up line to left. He has scored a couple of runs, now 53 RBI. Bass back with a 2-2. Breaking ball, see you later. Anthony Bass getting Vogt to be paralyzed for that breaking ball. No runs a hit, and 1 man left. A 9-pitch inning for Anthony Bass. Halfway through the game, 8-0 Oakland. Fans get a Michael Young bobblehead. That's courtesy of Globe Life. It's your last chance to see the Rangers before the All-Star break, so don't wait to get your tickets. Do it now. Visit TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS. Mitch Moreland leading off the Ranger fifth inning. Moreland has one of the two Ranger hits tonight against Kendall Braveman. There's a Michael Young fan. Probably already has his tickets for July 12th. Mitch takes the off-speed pitch from Graveman in for strike one.
Thank you, man.
Remember Graveman, the first 4 innings, he's used a total now of 35 pitches.
Wow. Man, he's only thrown 7 balls.
8.
Getting wild.
Yep. Pitch up to 296 after that base hit in the second. Now 2-1. Well, Mitch had a little bit of a downturn lately, but well, he's had a great last month or so. There's the breakdown. 9 balls, 28 strikes for Kendall Graveman. Zobrist in shallow right field, throws out Moreland. 1 gone. Joey Gallo coming to the plate. Right now, let's send it over to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. All right, Dana, thank you. Joey Gallo went down swinging the first time that he faced Kendall Graveman. 1-0 pitch. Cutter to the back door, and it's 1-1. Joey now just 3 for his last 29 trips to the plate with 16 strikeouts. And people have been wondering out loud, there's a base hit to right field. Throw to first base just in case Gallo was Cadillacing it down there, and no such luck. Sam Fuld came up firing.
Yeah, that was a function. That attempt was a function of how hard that ball was hit and how quickly Fuld got it. That was a rope.
Yeah, folks wondering about Joey Gallo. Well, is he ready? Is he going to get ruined? You don't have to worry about Joey Gallo being ruined. He can have an offer, and it's not gonna ruin him by any stretch of the imagination. He's pretty well grounded about his ability and what he needs to do as a major league hitter.
Yeah, he's just this is a learning experience for him.
Yep.
He's going to be fine. He's figuring out what they're doing, how they're trying to pitch him, and he's got to make the adjustment. So, but he's going to be fine. He just needs more at bats, obviously, and it's just going to continue. And he'll work his way out of it eventually. He'll start recognizing the off speed, either hit it or lay off of it, and then still be able to catch up to that fastball.
Elvis, left center field, falling in a hurry. Can't get it on the dive, and both Gallo and Elvis are going to be safe. There's a contrast in styles. They both end up as base hits, but Gallo's almost knocked Sam Fuld down in right field, and Elvis not hit quite as hard. Put it that way.
They'll both look the same tomorrow.
Yep.
Good try by the big guy out in left field.
Almost got a chin full of baseball, and that
sure
came up too.
If it was Robinson Chirinos, it would have hit him in the head.
Yeah.
Poor Robinson. He can be hitting, catching. I haven't seen him get hit on the base paths yet, but that poor guy is taking balls to his body this year that probably surpass any other player in the league.
So 2 on with 1 out. Well, Leonis Martin fouling off the first pitch, just 0-1. Martin, a ground ball to second, his first time to the plate. Leonis at 233. And he's just 2 for his last 27 in 9 ball games. Graveman back to him. 1-1. Gallo at second, trailed by Elvis Andrus at first. 2 balls and a strike. Martin, one of the better Rangers as far as his batting average with runners in scoring position as opposed to his overall average, some 30 points higher with runners in scoring position. Got Gallo at second, Andrus at first. 2 balls and a strike as Kendall Graveman. He wants to have Josh Phegley come out for a face-to-face. Okay, you're down 8 runs in the 5th inning. You got 2 on with 1 out. What does it take before guys on the bench start saying, "Hey, we've got a shot at this thing. Let's get it going"?
I would probably say a couple of runs.
Got to score.
Yeah, you got to score. You know, you get 2 hits here. That's great. But when you start to score, if you drop a crooked number up there, I think that's when guys start saying, "Okay, we might be getting to him now. We can get some, just chip away. 2 here, 2 the next inning, 3 the next, and you're right back in it."
Left center field. Canna over into the alley makes the catch. That is out number 2. And it's not that I'm not implying that you're not trying before that. It's just when the excitement starts to build a little bit on the bench.
Right, yeah, you start getting excited when you start scoring runs. There's no question about it. Even when you're down 8 to nothing. With this team and as explosive as this offense can be, we've seen it already. They're never out of it until the game's over.
You can look back to the first inning with the A's. They had a couple of outs and only 1 run in. Yep, 2 walks, a grand slam, and all of a sudden it's a 5-run inning. So it can happen quickly.
Yep.
It all starts with 1 hit.
Carlos Corcoran takes outside for ball 1. Corcoran 0 for 1 tonight. Ground ball to second. Got 2 on and 2 out. And Graveman, a little inside move. Graveman about ready to throw his 50th pitch of the night. Right-hander sets, a check of Gallo at second. He's a rocket down the right field line, a fair ball headed to the corner. Gallo will score. Elvis being waved around third. The relay throw is not in time. And into second, Carlos Corcoran. It's now an 8-2 A's lead, and there might be a little excitement building on that bench.
Yeah, this is exactly what it takes. Now you got a couple of runs. You've still got guys, on base. Corby's out at second. You got the top of the order coming up, even though there are 2 outs. They've scored a lot of runs with 2 outs before, so yeah, now they're starting to feel it a little bit.
And Carlos got a good pitch to hit, put a good swing on it. Turned it into Corpy time at the ballpark. There's an example of what you were talking about last night, Buzz, when you combine the 2 catchers and the output, the production that they've had. Very solid from the catching department.
13 RBI now for Corcoran. And put that with the 24 that Torinos has driven in. You got some pretty good numbers for the guys behind the plate. Rougned Odor 0 for 2. And a chopper foul. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Elvis scoring that second run on that double.
There's that excitement.
Yeah, there you go. Rougned trying to keep it going. You got Corcoran out at second base, 2 outs. And Graveman missing down and away. 2 balls and a strike. Odor, a ground ball to third and a pop-up to third tonight. Three and 1.
Mac Ruby looks a lot more relaxed, confident, and kind of in control of himself this time than earlier.
He does. Just looking at this at bat right here, for example, he knows what he's going to get. He's spitting on that sinker down, not even offering at it. This is probably going to be a pitch that he's going to, probably going to be a fastball, something for him to hit and drive.
Probably would have swung at that last pitch earlier. I don't think that would have been a walk in April.
No. I mean, to me, I see a huge difference. I think a lot of it is that confidence.
Yeah.
I'm watching some of his hits since he's been back. His head is on the ball. He's not pulling it off like he did the first month of the season. And he's just a much better hitter now. He went down. You got to give him credit. He went down to the minor leagues, hit .350, made the adjustments that he needed to make, and got back here, and he's continued that.
Well, folks, this July, baseball's best players gather in Cincinnati. Midsummer Classic, home field advantage is at stake for the World Series. Our coverage of the 2015 MLB All-Star Game begins July 14th at 6 p.m. on Fox and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
You hear this a lot from baseball people, and I don't think there's ever been a better example of Rubned. You hear people say they need to slow the game down. It's a little bit spinning out of control, and I think he's a great example of that, what you see now and where he was at right before he was sent to the minor leagues. And to his credit, he went down there and accomplished everything he needed to accomplish to come back and be the player the Rangers know he can be.
Odor is aboard along with Carlos Corcoran, first and second Ranger runners. Ryan Rua ahead of the count, 1 ball and no strikes. Rua has grounded out and flied out. Fastball from Graveman evens the count. Good foot from up above the first base line here at Globe Life Park. Prince Fielder waiting in that on-deck circle. Would love to get a shot at Graveman in this inning. Chopper into the hole to second. It is in time. They get the sliding Odor, and Odor immediately pointing into the Ranger dugout as if to say, hey, I beat the play.
That's pretty close.
That was bang bang at second base. That was the only play that Semien had.
Whoa.
He might have beat it.
Yeah, I thought he was out looking at it in real time. Looking at it on the replay. Whoa, that is close.
Wow.
Is it enough to overturn it?
Yeah, that's gonna be the question. Now the challenge has been issued. So Bannister got word from Joey Probinski upstairs through Steve Buechele on the bench that hey, that's worth a challenge, and it's a critical juncture. Rangers have scored 2 in the inning. If you're going to use a challenge, and you would likely think you're going to win this challenge, this would be a big shot in the arm.
Well, 30,000 umpires in the ballpark think it's going to be overturned.
Chuck Morgan is showing it on the big screen out here above the right field home run porch. And Rougned Odor is convinced that he beat the throw. Lance Barrett and Dan Iasonia with the headsets on. Remember, Dale Scott, the crew chief, is not in action now as he was hit by a line drive, so he's being tended to. So Iasonia and Barrett with the headsets talking to Replay Command Center back in New York, and they will review the various angles. Remember, the ruling on the field was out, and there has to be clear and convincing evidence to the umpire in charge of the replay for this ball game in New York that the call was incorrect. And the length of time now they're taking a look at it would indicate how difficult a call this is going to be.
And this is a big call. If the Rangers get it overturned, it's their way. Now you've got bases loaded with your best hitter.
Yeah.
Prince Fielder. So this could be a huge turning point.
You get a couple of the angles here.
You see the one on the left seems to show he's safe.
And Rougned Odor immediately said, I'm safe. I know that. So just ask me. I'll tell you I'm safe. We don't have to take all this time.
All right, here's one. If that call was safe, do you think the A's would have challenged it?
Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
Either way.
Yeah, either way, that play is going to get challenged. It's close enough to where, hey, either man, you have
critical time in the game, it's worth it.
Especially with the big fella on deck.
Oh, and he is out at second base. So the call came down from the replay command center that the call stands. In other words, there wasn't enough video evidence to overturn it, but there also wasn't enough video evidence to confirm it. Well, the call stands, and the Rangers are gone. They do score a couple of runs, but Strand too. It's 8-2 Oakland. Matt, thanks for joining us. We'll see you after the ball game on Rangers Live.
Special guest here. This is Nestor. He's going to 30 parks in 30 days, but there's a big reason behind this. What's that about?
Well, my wife was diagnosed with leukemia last March, and we're touring the country to get people on the bone marrow registry to swab for There Goes My Hero and delete blood cancer. It takes 30 seconds to save a life. A 21-year-old man saved my wife's life a year ago this Friday. We're going to be in St. Louis on Friday. We're going to different ballparks and swabbing for the bone marrow registry and trying to do things like this and make people aware that leukemia is not just a killer anymore. You can have your life saved, and my wife had her life saved last year, but you have to get on the registry if you're healthy between 18 and 55. It takes 30 seconds. It's literally a Q-tip in both corners of your mouth with a little bit of saliva. It's your DNA, that's your marker, and that's how she found her genetic twin who saved her life in Germany.
Right, that's how you save a life, like that. Very quick. Now,
Give a spit tour.
There you go. And 30 days in 30 parks. Where are you going to finish up? What park?
Well, we're going to finish at the All-Star Game, which was my wife's dream, to go to the All-Star Game when she was sick last year and fighting for her life. She wanted to go to the All-Star Game, so I'm taking her to Cincinnati, and along the way, we're going to stop and see every ballpark. So we're here in Texas tonight. We're in Houston tomorrow and St. Louis on Friday. It's been a wonderful tour. You can go to giveaspit.com or the hashtag giveaspit and learn more about how you can save a life.
There you go. Give that address again.
Giveaspit.com, and the hashtag is giveaspit. 30 ballparks in 30 days, and we're saving lives.
We'll check it out. Nestor, best of luck.
Thanks for the Texas hospitality.
Thank you. Buzz?
Wow, what a spokesperson for the cause.
No kidding. Well, Anthony Bass working to Ben Zobrist here to start off the sixth inning. Zobrist 1 for 3 tonight. An infield single in the fourth inning. Other than that, is grounded out and flied out. Well, the Rangers looked like they had a lot going on in the bottom of the fifth, and a call that was not overturned. I'm not going to say it cost him, but it could have been a very huge inning. Maybe it turned out 2 hours and 30 minutes of replay review, or 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I should say. It only seemed like 2 hours.
No, that's the kind of call, Buzz. If he was called safe, that would have been overturned either. Safe probably would have stood up, and so would the out call. Just wasn't enough evidence to change it. Although a lot of Ranger fans thought there was.
Yeah. Everyone in this ballpark thought there was, and probably a lot of them at home. Josh Phegley is 2 for 2 tonight. A walk and a run scored in the first, a 2-run home run in the second, and he singled in the 4th inning. And a breaking ball drops into him. 0-2. Phegley with the average now at .312. And originally just the complimentary piece to Stephen Vogt behind the plate, but the way Phegley's swinging the bat lately especially, he's worked himself into a pretty prominent role. Vogt getting the start at first base tonight. One and two. Now 2-2. Outfield playing Phegley a few steps around to the left. Infield in a similar fashion. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. He peeled down to first, and Gabe Morales said, yep, that's good enough for the strikeout, and they're 2 gone. Good sharp slider from Anthony Bass.
I think he went.
Phegley in a tough spot as a catcher. You can't really argue with the home plate umpire too much. Now here's Billy Butler. And Beltre. An easy play, sets his feet, and throws to Moreland. Side retired in 1-2-3 fashion. He's gone. We finished 5.5. Remains the A's on top 8-2. Fox Sports Southwest. Brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot is worth $1,400 and dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during the inning, Dan McVicker from Alvarado will win $1,400. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam, Dan is going to win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Well, Dan, you got the right guys up here to start things off. Prince Fielder. He had a home run cut. 1 ball and 1 strike. Fielder 1 for 2. Single going the other way back in the 4th inning. He's now hitting at .339. Kendall Graveman, still a very modest pitch count despite having better than 20 pitches last inning. His next pitch will be number 60 this evening. Got away with a hanger to Prince. 1-2. Fielder now has had at least one hit in each of his last 3 ball games. We mentioned he came into the ball game 3rd in the American League now with a batting average. He's among the league leaders in several categories. He's 2nd in the major leagues with the 28 multi-hit games. D. Gordon with the Marlins passed him up. Another foul down to Hector Ortiz at first. Well, if you want to know about consistency that Prince Fielder has delivered this year for the Rangers, he's been on base either by a hit or a walk or a hit by pitch in 62 of the 68 games, now 63 of the 69 games in which he's played this year. Little looping drive into right center or left center field for a base hit, and Prince Fielder a leadoff single here in the 6th inning. Another multi-hit game. That's number 29.
Now, one thing Prince has done this year so that his average has hovered around 340 all year is he really grinds it out with 2 strikes. He's not up there like a lot of hitters trying to hit the ball as far as he can, no matter what the count. When he's got 2 strikes, he's just trying to make some contact, take what he can get. And sometimes it's like the 2 hits he had today. He hit a ball off the end of the bat on the ground for a base hit, looped that one over short. But that's the difference. Not trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark every pitch, trying to make something happen. That one looked like it might have hurt him.
Yeah. I saw Adrian take that hack and drop the bat immediately, like it just vibrated right out of his hands. The donut that Adrian has, the cushioning in between his hands.
I think that kind of a pitch where you foul it off, you have to reach for it. That's going to cause some pain, but he's pretty much made up his mind. He's going to play with the pain.
0-1 the count to him. Chopper back of 3rd. It's a foul ball. And it'll run the count to no balls and 2 strikes.
There's been a few players over the course of baseball history, I couldn't tell you all of them, who have hit by separating their hands a little bit. Probably more in the old days. Ty Cobb might have hit like that. His hands don't come together, and that's essentially what that padding does. It separates his hands so that they don't cause friction one hand to the other and create that pain.
I remember watching the old Los Angeles Angels when they first came into existence. Leon Wagner.
Did he hit like that?
Daddy Wags hit with his hands apart. And Beltre gone on strikes. I would think for a guy that's got a bad thumb like Adrian does, that bottom hand, getting a sinker down and in is probably the toughest pitch for him to handle and go down after aggressively. Does that make sense? Where it's tough to go down after the ball?
I think anytime you swing and miss, it causes more pain than when you make solid contact. And you could tell in that at bat, the ball he fouled off and probably the last one he swung at definitely caused him some pain. But he can play with pain. I think he made up his mind he was going to do it, and he's not going to complain about it.
No, 1 out for Graveman, just his 2nd strikeout of the night. Brings up Mitch Moreland.
I think if you ask Adrian, how's your hand feel, he said, I can play with it.
Yep.
He's not going to say it's bad. He's not going to say it's good. He's just going to tell you, I can play.
Moreland 1 for 2. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pitch now at 294 with the average. Trying to advance Prince Fielder. Rangers trying to get something going again this inning. 1-2. Mitch with the base hit. His first time up now has hit safely in 15 of his last 17 games. Right at the 300 mark. A nice shot from the club level. Just above the 3rd baseline here at Globe Life Park. Very comfortable night. The temperatures in the upper 80s. Gentle breeze coming in from right center field. And Moreland is gone on strike. So back-to-back punch-outs for Kendall Graveman. There are 2 gone after the leadoff single. And Joey Gallo coming up.
Graveman had only struck out 1 coming into the 6th inning. Gets a call on a pitch on the outside corner. Tries to hit the outside corner again. Then the good sinker down and in is fouled off, and that pitch with movement out of the strike zone. Looked like Mitch might have ticked it. And on a pitch that low, you would think it might go into the dirt before the catcher caught it, but not the case.
And Graveman having one of those nights where, being a sinker ball pitcher, the more he throws, the more that ball starts to sink.
Sure looks like
Gets a little tired, and you start getting the release point. And you see a lot of sinker ball pitchers. Once they get going, it just gets nastier and nastier until they finally run out of gas. But that appears to be down the road a bit for Graveman.
Yeah, he's only had 72 pitches so far.
Gallo takes that pitch off the outside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You mentioned that he got off to a bad start. So bad, in fact, that they sent him to the minor leagues for several starts. But since he's come back, he's had 6 starts. This is number 7. And his ERA in those 6 starts was .227. So he's pitched very well since coming back. The Rangers knocked him around back in, I guess it was May 9th. They 7 hits, 7 earned runs in 3 1/3. They beat the A's 10-1 that day.
Yeah, that was his first start in April.
In April, okay.
That first,
not May, April.
But the Rangers had a hand in getting him out of the big leagues the first time around. And he just misses the outside corner. That runs the count full. So now with 2 outs and a full count, Prince Fielder will be off and moving with the next pitch. Joey Gallo trying to extend this Ranger 6th. Elvis Andrus in the on-deck circle. Graveman, a long look in. Now the right-hander is ready. Fielder on the move, the payoff pitch got him swinging. Pulled the string, and Gallo strikes out full the second time tonight. Rangers had 3 strikeouts after the leadoff single. On to the 7th we go, 8-2 Oakland. Game summary. All started with Brett Lowry unloading a grand slam, the 3rd of his career in the first inning. That capped off a 5-run first. Next inning, Josh Begley, his 2nd home run in as many nights, a 2-run blast. 8-0 in favor of Oakland. And Carlos Corcoran got the Rangers on the board in the 5th inning, a 2-run single. Brought home Gallo and Andrus. And that's where we stand, 8-2 Oakland as we head to the 7th inning. And Brett Lowry leading off against Anthony Bass. Bass has been on since the 5th. He has allowed just 1 base runner. That was on a base hit in the 5th inning. Base hit by Mark Canha. Well, Lowry tonight 2 for 3 with that grand slam and a 4th inning single. Michael Choice, just recalled, as Tom told you, from AAA Round Rock in the ball game in right field, moving from right into first. Ryan Rua. Well, Mitch Moreland's night has come to a close. One and 2 to Brett Lowry. Lowry at .291 now with 35 runs driven in. I mentioned Oakland going crazy offensively. And Lowry certainly a part of that, showing you exactly what's happened. A's now have scored 70 runs in the last 10 ball games. They have hit around 310 as a team. Lowry not able to climb the ladder to get that Anthony Bass fastball. One gone. Bass his third strikeout.
Anthony doing a nice job getting the hitters out and minimizing his pitches. That was only his 25th pitch to get 7 outs. That's pretty much what Jeff Bannister was looking for when he replaced Wandy after 4 innings, was bring someone in, not throw a lot of pitches, and try to use the minimum amount of bullpen guys that he can tonight.
I remember, Tom, we were talking last night when we saw Anthony Bass. How long do you let your long reliever stay in a ball game that is not really that close, and you might need the next night? Well, here he is again.
Yeah.
And that was answered. He only pitched 1 inning last night, and he's raring to go here tonight.
Yeah, and if he'd pitched 2 innings and thrown 40 pitches, maybe he wouldn't have been available on a night where the Rangers only have 6 relievers, and Wandy was only able to go 4 innings.
0-2 pitch. That is low and outside. Marcus Semien 1 for 3 with a first inning single. 8 runs on a dozen hits for the A's tonight. 2 runs on half a dozen hits for the Rangers. Pass back to the plate. Odor gliding to his left. Has it? 2 gone. And next will be Sam Fuld. Anthony Bass just won over the minimum here and almost through 3 innings. Well, folks, there's no better place to celebrate Independence Day than right here at Globe Life Park. Rangers play the Angels on July 4th. That's an 8 o'clock start. Following the game, fans will be treated to a spectacular 4th of July fireworks display presented by Papa John's. Visit TexasRangers.com to buy your tickets and spend the 4th with the Rangers. Sam Fuld 0 for 3 tonight, reached on an error in the 3rd inning. Ouch. He got sawed off there, and a little roller that Rugnet takes care of. Anthony Bass just 11 pitches to dispose of the Oakland A's, and we'll take the stretch at Globe Life Park in Arlington, with the A's leading the Rangers 8-2. Continues the quarterfinals as China squares off against Alex Morgan and Team USA. It's a win or go home matchup. Coverage begins at 6 p.m. on your local Fox station, and you can catch the entire tournament streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Elvis Andrus not wasting any time. He pounds one into the left field corner. That's going to be extra bases. Elvis getting a Kendall Graveman pitch up in the middle of the plate. And he has his second hit of the night. This one a ringing double.
Well, Elvis for a couple of weeks has been struggling a little bit offensively, but he went 3 for 5, had a couple of doubles and a couple of RBIs in last night's game. He has a hit and a run and now a double leading off the 7th inning tonight. So 5 hits in the last 2 nights for Elvis. Had a pitch up, hanging in the inside part of the plate. Put a great swing on it.
Well, that's one of those swings, Tom, you talked about with Elvis that we would not have seen in past years, especially the last couple of years.
Yeah, he's kind of working on that. He shows signs of it. Still trying to develop the consistent ability to do that. But nice job at driving that ball to left field.
Well, Leonis Martin, a ground out and a fly out tonight. 0 for 2, hitting at .232. As we look out the infield, you see Dale Scott, the veteran umpire, back out there. It's nice to see Dale came back in. Ground ball to Zobrist. That'll get Elvis over, but he's out there with 1 out, and Carlos Corcoran. Dale Scott, the veteran umpire, got hit with that line drive a couple of innings ago, and the assessment was he has a left thigh contusion.
He put some ice on it, took a couple of aspirin. Good to go. Yeah, Leonis now is 6 for 42, and a lot of his outs are sinkers or balls away that he's trying to pull and hitting ground balls to second base. And what he has to do is just wait on the ball a little bit better and try to go back up the middle or to left center field a little bit.
Our AT&T Ubers with Carlos Corcoran at the plate now. It takes him back to his last at bat. That was in the 5th inning, and that double into the corner scored Gallo and Andrus. Only 2 runs of the ball game so far, but he's got Elvis at third with just 1 out here in the 7th. That last pitch for Kendall Graveman, number 80 for the evening. Carlos now 13 RBI, a 191 average. He shoots that one foul outside first, and the count moves to a ball and 2 strikes. Corcoran, you remember, back in the first week of June here against the White Sox, had a career high 5 RBI. He has 2 and looking for at least 1 more with Elvis down there. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Graveman still working from a stretch. Checks Andrus. Corcoran pops it up. This is not deep enough to get Elvis home. As the left fielder Canna called off Marcus Semien. That is out number 2. And before Rougned Odor comes to the plate, let's send it back to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. All right, Dana, thank you. Well, he is having quite a month, isn't he?
Probably went about 480 feet like the rest of them he's hitting.
Yeah, last night he had 484, I think, was the tally on that. Rougned takes ball 1. He must be getting a little tired, though. The ball only came off the bat at 119.2, I think it was.
Boy. Well, we saw that when they played here last year, just watching him in batting practice. Looked like golf balls coming off his bat.
Rougned lines 1 to left, backing up Canna. And he makes the catch. That'll do it. Rangers get a leadoff double from Elvis, but strand him. We'll go to the 8th inning. It remains the A's 8 and the Rangers 2 on Fox Sports Southwest.
In the game, it has to be Chester, celebrating his 98th birthday today. World War II veteran. Chester, congratulations. Having a good time?
Very well. Having a good time.
There we go. Here with a lot of his family and friends. And I understand you still work, right?
Still work 2 days a week for this guy.
Now, how's Chester as an employee?
Chester's unbelievable. He just wants to make sure he doesn't get stuck with a lunch bill.
And Chester, you had something to say about the checks, huh?
Well, I told him the first time one of his checks bounced, I was going to quit. He said he'd beat me to the door. So he's looking out for his backside, too.
All right, well, congratulations. Here's the bag. Go ahead and take that, Chester. We got a shirt in there for you. Fan of the game. Way to go. Hey, any big plans afterwards?
Go to Taco Bell, yeah.
Okay, all right, sounds good. All right. Appreciate it, Chester. Thank you, buddy. Good having you.
I was going to say he's going dancing like the rest of them.
Yeah. That's great. He was recognized earlier. There's always a veteran recognized. Chuck Morgan does that so well, honoring veterans, and had him stand up. I think about third inning or so out here. And the crowd gave him a great round of applause. Looper into center. Leonis Martin coming on and makes the catch. You know, Billy Burns retired for just the second time tonight. He is 3 for 5. One out. Mark Canna coming up. Anthony Bass in 3 1/3 is a marvelous job. Only 35 pitches needed to get the 10 outs.
Well, that's exactly what Jeff Bannister and Mike Maddox were looking for. Exactly what the bullpen needed tonight.
Yeah, the thankless job of being a long reliever in a night like this, but boy, you save everybody else.
About 4 or 5 times last year we saw Scott Baker do pretty much the same thing.
Yep, sure did.
You say, boy, I hope Scott can go 4 or 5 innings tonight, and invariably he was able to do it.
Mark Canna is 1 for 4. Had a 5th inning single. As a matter of fact, he's the only base runner against Anthony Bass tonight. It's a little bit low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Canna back in. Bass studying the signs. The 1-1 pitch. 2 balls and a strike. Anthony Bass, a 27-year-old out of the Detroit area. Drafted out of Wayne State University in Detroit. And he misses high here, 3-1. Canna hitting second, trying to get aboard here in the 8th inning. Stephen Vogt, the first baseman, waiting in the wings. 3-2. Anthony Bass, originally selected by the Padres in the 2008 draft. He was a 5th round selection. That time with the Padres, came up with the big leagues the first time in 2011. Spent last year with the Houston Astros. Rangers acquired him over the winter, and he gets the strikeout of Canna. Good job by Bass to come back from being down in the count to get the punch out. Well, let's take a look at our Kubota power stats as we look forward to tomorrow afternoon. Colby Lewis, 4 starts in June, a perfect month thus far with a 279 earned run average and 3 wins, just 3 walks and 22 strikeouts. He's gone 7 or more innings in all of the starts this month. So Colby on the mound here tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock. And Vogt really turning on one from Bass and rifles it into the second deck down the right field line. Vogt tonight, RBI hits each of his first 2 times up. Double in the first, single in the second. One and 1. .298 the average. Oh, the veteran left-handed hitter. Bass to the wind. And missed outside with the changeup. Colby Lewis on the hill, and the Rangers will have their hands full again with Colby's mound opponent being Sonny Gray, who never misses a turn against the Rangers when he has the opportunity. He's there 6 times they play each other during the season, and our Ford leaderboard will show you the ERA leaders in the major leagues this year. Sonny Gray 4th on that spot. 195 earned run average. Zach Greinke, who the Rangers faced out in L.A., leading with a 170. Vogt lines one to right. Coming on his choice, and he can't get it. It gets by him and goes to the wall. Vogt around second. He is headed for third, and I think he just ran out of gas, so he's going to stop. Well, Michael Choice got caught in between, coming in, and looked like the ball might have knuckled again on him.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. Looked like he had a decent jump, but then it did look like the ball played some tricks on him. It might have gone through the lights. It might have been moving on him, but it caused him some problems right at the end. Playing fairly deep near the warning track right here. The way he was moving his glove around kind of leads you to believe that was happening to him.
Well, that's going to be scored a single and a 2-base error. Second Ranger error of the night. Vogt at third now with 2 outs, and Ben Zobrist takes strike 1. Zobrist 1 for 4, 4th inning single. That mingled in among the couple of ground outs and a fly out. Just missed the inside corner. Anthony Bass now a 1-1 count. Zobrist, the switch hitter, up there from the left side. Bass back to him, and it's 2-1. Oh, the 2 errors tonight. The Rangers now have 60 errors. That is second most to the Oakland A's. A's came in with 72 errors tonight. They are last in the American League. Rangers next to last. Off speed and low, and it's 3-1. Zobrist trying to extend this inning. Will be followed by the catcher Josh Phegley. Three and two.
A good fastball by Anthony Bass in this ball game. He's got some movement on it. It's been 93, 94 miles an hour. Probably as good stuff as we've seen from Anthony all year. Throwing the ball great.
Payoff pitch is on the way. We'll have to use at least one more.
The extra on that one, 95. Throwing a lot of strikes. 17 balls, 35 strikes.
Yep. 2-to-1 ratio is always a good thing.
Yep.
Zobrist back in. Anthony Bass to the wind. Another 3-2 pitch. Inside, lost it. Ball 4. And there are runners at the corners for Phegley. And Mike Maddox will make his way out to the mound. And while Mike heads out there, it gives us an opportunity to remind you that you can fill out your 2015 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot right now. Just while Mike is out to the mound. Visit TexasRangers.com/vote and vote for the Rangers as your favorite or second favorite team. And you'll get an offer for 50% off select games in August or September. Head to the web and send Fielder, Moreland, Beltre to the All-Star Game. But hurry, voting closes on July 2nd. Prince, very deserving with his numbers. Unfortunately listed as a first baseman. And I say unfortunately, and Albert Pujols having a great year at first, but then you got Teixeira and Hosmer and Cabrera all in that mix, all of them having fine years as well. Josh Phegley spinning on a pitch and didn't make contact. 0-1. Begley a single and a 2-run home run. Also walked and scored. 2 for 3 officially, hitting at .309 now.
As you were talking about Kendall Graveman and Brett Lowry coming over to the A's in the trade for Josh Donaldson, who went to the Blue Jays. A couple of other guys came over. Josh Phegley doing a fine job catching. Marcus Semien, the shortstop. They came over to the A's from the White Sox in the trade for Jeff Smarger. Kind of a remake of the roster this offseason by the A's.
Yeah, the A's shoring that up, shoring up the offense, and I think that was one of the big things that Billy Beane tried to do. And he obviously doesn't have unlimited funds in Oakland, but trying to get value for what he had to deal with. And had Billy Butler as your DH, and Ben Zobrist as a guy that can help out in the middle. And Anthony Bass with the strikeout, his 5th of the night. He strands a pair on a hit and a walk. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Rangers coming to bat here, trailing Oakland 8-2.
The 8th, trailing the A's by a score of 8-2 as we welcome you back to Globe Life Park in Arlington. This is the middle game of a 3-game series and a brief 3-game homestand for these Texas Rangers. The finale will be tomorrow. It is a day game. There are these pitching principles in this one. Colby Lewis goes for the Rangers, and Sonny Gray, as the boys have talked about his good starts against this Texas team. Both of those guys going at it tomorrow afternoon, 1 o'clock here on Fox Sports Southwest. Thanks to the fine folks at AT Uverse for bringing us all this fantastic and valuable information, guys.
All right, and thank you. Now, Ryan Rua leading off the bottom of the 8th inning against Kendall Graveman. The Rua, Fielder, and Beltre. A's leading 8-2, and Rua drives it to right center field and deep, full. Going back, it's over his head, 1 hop into the seats for a ground rule double.
I don't see many balls bounce into the stands for a ground rule double to that part of the ballpark. Colby's not playing especially deep in right field. He's got pretty good range, good speed. He's one of those cutters that stayed on the inside part of the plate instead of on the outside part of the plate, which causes the hitter to be a little bit out in front of it and hit it off the end of the bat. But Ryan drove that ball. And see where Folds playing, relatively shallow for a guy with some power. Hit on the warning track and bounced right on out.
Well, Ryan Rua with his first hit of the night. Rangers now have 8 of them against Graveman. 1 on, nobody out. Prince Fielder has 2 of those 8 hits. A pair of singles. He takes ball 1. Fielder now at .342 with the average. Graveman about ready to throw his 90th pitch of the night. And it's outside, 2-0. And just as we say that, some action beginning in the bullpen. Edward Mujica, the right-hander, and Fernando Abad, the left-hander, up and loosening. That has not been a source of comfort for Bob Melvin and Kurt Young, the pitching coach. That bullpen has been in shambles. Although this part of the ball game, he probably feels like he can mix and match to get to Clippard.
Yeah. We talked about that last night. Last couple, at least on Saturday and Sunday, used Clippard in more than a 1-inning save twice. He's hoping it doesn't come to that point where he has a save opportunity. Rangers would love to see Clippard in this game.
Yeah. Josh Bagley out to have a little chat with Kendall Graveman as Abad and Mujica continue to loosen. Fielder, meanwhile, waiting. Graveman has things squared around with Fagley. Right-hander's ready for the 2-1 pitch. Tried the back door and it was locked. 3-1. No Prince trying to get aboard. Rangers trying to make some noise here in the 8th inning. Adrian Beltre waits to be next. Chuck Morgan, the director of in-park entertainment, imploring the crowd to make some noise. Our Echo pitch tracker telling me that Graveman not really close on most of those pitches to Prince Fielder. And that is outside, ball 4. Fielder takes the walk. And there are 2 on with nobody out, and that's going to bring Bob Melvin out of the A's dugout. So with Graveman at 93 pitches in the evening, Bob Melvin says, that's enough. He wants to give a little leeway to Edward Mujica, who will come into the ball game. Right-hander brought in to face Adrian Beltre with 2 on and nobody out here in the 8th inning. Rangers trying to rally. They trail by 6. We're back right after this timeout on Fox Sports Southwest. Over in the 8th inning, 2 on and nobody out. Mujica just acquired last month by the A's from the Boston Red Sox. You remember him as a member of the Boston bullpen. Mujica appearing in his 18th ball game tonight, 2-2 with a 372 earned run average. Mujica, a 31-year-old out of Valencia, Venezuela. And he inherits Ryan Rua at second and Prince Fielder at first. Adrian Beltre is 0 for 3 at the plate tonight. Beltre 1 hit in 7 at-bats since getting back into the lineup last night. Mujica with the first pitch to him. Inside for ball 1. And now Josh Phegley going to go out and have a little chat with Mujica. Well, Mujica, you may remember, bullpen for the St. Louis Cardinals, San Diego Padres, and originally the Cleveland Indians. Always been a reliever. Appeared in 64 ball games last year for the Red Sox. 1 ball, no strikes.
There's that same pitch, Buzz.
Yep.
Hard sinker down and in.
And again, Adrian letting go of the bat with his bottom hand, with that left hand, the injured one, as he swung through that pitch. See, it's heavily bandaged, cushioned, and the bat handle itself cushioned with that donut right at the top of where his hand is.
He keeps his right hand from rubbing against the injured bottom hand.
Double play ground ball to Semien. They turn it over at second. 6-4-3. On to third goes Rua, but they're now 2 outs. And Michael Choice will come up. Well, Mujica got exactly what he wanted. That double play from Adrian Beltre. Two away, Michael Choice, his first at bat of the season for the Rangers. The 11 ball games, the last 11 ball games, Michael swinging the bat really well at AAA, a 400 average. He had 242 overall with the Express. And Michael takes that pitch in for strike 1. Choice last year broke camp with the Rangers, 2014, and just never really was able to get it going. A little tapper foul. Michael ended up hitting 182 last year for the Rangers. Did have 9 home runs. That was in 86 games. Rangers felt coming out of spring training he still had some work to do and sent him to Round Rock. Hit 7 home runs down there in 61 ball games for the Express. 0-2 pitch. Foul back. Michael originally with the Oakland A's before coming over in a trade that sent Craig Gentry from the Rangers to the A's. Oh, 0-2 with Rua at third base. Mujica to the plate. Michael, of course, a local product, went to UTA. Again, the 0-2. And in the dirt. The crowd, just as they thought, well, yeah, we get a couple of rallies going here. And A's have been able to prevent any big damage done by the Rangers thus far. And again, pop foul. Michael having a pretty pesky at bat. Michael out of Mansfield's Timberview High School. Graduated there in 2007. He went to UTA. He was 34 home runs for the Mavericks. Got him swinging. Mujica gets the strikeout. So a double play and a strikeout. Rangers had something promising going, a double and a walk, but one left. We'll go to the ninth inning. It remains 8-2 Oakland.
Themselves down 8-2 as we head into the top of the ninth inning. Dana Larson here reminding you we will have the post-game show coming up right after the game. Join me, Mark McLemore, Pudge Rodriguez. We'll get reaction from the manager, manager, Jeff Bannister. Easy for me to say. Also look ahead to tomorrow's very good pitching matchup with Colby Lewis and Sonny Gray. So stay with us. I will, Buzz and Tom, try to get my words together for the post-game show coming up. Maybe Pudge and Mac will have more to offer in that area as well. It's Rangers Live, the post-game edition, coming up right after the game, guys.
We knew what you meant, Dana. Yeah. The Manister,
the
Jeff
Manister.
Bannister. Yeah. Jeff Bannister.
I think I did. The Manister. He's the Manister.
Yeah.
You've been listening to us too much. Get your tongue twisted.
Well, you get letters mixed up every now and then.
Sam Freeman on the hill, and boy, he saws off Billy Butler. The roller out to short. Butler retired. 2 pitches and 1 out.
We went to Massachusetts, Buzz, while you guys were in Los Angeles, and I brought my daughter and my 2 grandsons to see my mother, who's 95 years old. And while we were there, my youngest grandson, Sam, who's 4, got a little bit upset with his grandfather, and he said, "You're a Norman." And what he meant was, "You're a moron." He mixed the M and the N and turned it into Norman. So that's become a new word in our family now.
Well, that's a little bit nicer than
Norman. Yeah. At least they don't know what you're talking about.
Brett Lowry at the plate. He has a couple of hits tonight. A grand slam home run and a single. Other than that, he has struck out twice. Facing Sam Freeman. Sam came on and worked an inning in last night's ball game. Unscored upon. Gave up 1 hit. And a little looping drive to right will settle in. And Lowry has his 3rd hit of the evening. A 1-out single has him aboard here in the 9th. And Marcus Semien coming up.
We're talking about Lowry. Early in the season, when the Rangers played the A's, you could just spin a ball up there, and he was having a hard time hitting it. He hit in the 220s in April, but he's hitting in the 350s this month, knocking in runs. He had a grand slam tonight, 3 more hits. His average is over 290. So he's doing a nice job of making the A's feel good about the trade they made with Blue Jays.
Yeah, no longer just spinning the ball up there is sufficient for that.
No.
Because he hit a hanging breaking ball
did.
from Wandy out of the ballpark.
Yep.
Semien rips through a fastball. It's 0-2. A's shortstop had a single back in the 1st inning, and since then has grounded out 3 times. So 1 for 4. Currently hitting at 270. Nice stop by Carlos Corcoran. That ball hitting out in front of home plate. And the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. Sam Freeman, another local product out of Carrollton, went to Hebron High School. Going back to the couple of outings he had on the just completed road trip, I don't think I've seen Sam Freeman rush the ball to home plate the way he did in Los Angeles, especially.
Yeah.
He was topping 95, 96 with his fastball, and he was virtually unhittable.
Well, you just kind of get the feeling that there's a lot of raw talent here that's just ready to come out. It's kind of a matter of getting comfortable in the big leagues, gaining confidence in the big leagues. And when he puts it together, the raw stuff is pretty outstanding.
Sure is. 3-2 the count. Now time called. The game that is sticking in my mind against the Dodgers, the first game out there on a Wednesday night, I guess it was. Came in and worked an inning and 2/3 and struck out 2, and just there wasn't much put in play sharply. And that pitch is low, and ball 4. So that puts 2 aboard with 1 out, and Sam Fuld coming to the plate. A 5th walk issued by Ranger pitching tonight. And 3 by Wandy Rodriguez, 1 by Anthony Bass, now 1 by Sam Freeman. Now the left-hander will face Sam Fuld, who is 0 for 4 this evening. One ball, no strikes. Freeman reading the signs. He comes back to the plate. He has a strike at the knees on the outside corner. Sam, after graduating high school here, went to college up in the Gainesville area, North Central Texas College for a couple of years, then moved on to the University of Kansas. Drafted by the Cardinals. Pitch pulled foul. It was in the 2008 draft. And made his big league debut in 2012 with St. Louis. Two and two to Fuld. Well, that bat shatters, and
boy, look how fast that thing went
chasing
into
Ryan
the outfield.
Rua as he went into foul territory.
Boy, that ball was hit so poorly, the bat just flew by the ball. That was going pretty fast when it zipped by Ryan at first base, too. Trying to watch the ball and watch the bat.
Almost like a slingshot effect.
Man, glad Ryan was moving toward the ball.
Look at that.
Scary sight.
Yep.
Very scary sight in Boston a couple weeks ago when that bat hit the fan. A lot of discussion about how wise it would be to put a screen between first base and third base to protect the fans.
Yep.
Sure, that'll be discussed.
Pulled down to Rua at first. He will step on the bag. The 2 runners, Lowry and Semien, advance to third and second. They are there now with 2 outs. And Billy Burns will get another at bat. Well, Billy Burns, 3 for 5 this evening. Batting average at .327. He's extended his career high hitting streak now to 14 consecutive games. 26 out of 27 he has hit safely in. And the first pitch from Sam Freeman just a bit low at 96 for ball 1. Sam Freeman sets back to the plate. Pulled the string and had Burns out in front. 1-1. Burns getting to the point now with 205 at bats, where it's not a small sample anymore.
No way.
You consider that just a little bit over a third of a full season, and he's putting things together for the A's. Pulls this one on the ground to Elvis. And that'll do it. A base hit and a walk, but 2 left to board. Sam Freeman gets out of it. Bottom of the ninth coming up. Rangers trailing the A's 8-2. Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By AT&T UVerse TV. UVerse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. And by your Texas Ford dealer. Visit your Texas Ford dealer now for great deals on America's best-selling brand. Ford is the best in Texas. The ninth inning has arrived for the Rangers. And one final shot if they want to get back in this ball game. Fernando Abad, the tall left-hander, coming in now. The 29-year-old out of La Romana in the Dominican Republic. Familiar sight coming out of the Oakland bullpen. 28 appearances now with this one tonight. A 5.19 ERA. Most normally a left-handed matchup kind of pitcher coming out of the pen, but Bob Elwin with the 6-run advantage, looking for Abad to give him a full inning of work and close out the ninth inning. And Joey Gallo up there swinging at that first pitch, didn't connect for strike one. Gallo, a base hit and a run scored in the fifth. That was sandwiched in between a couple of strikeouts. 0-2. Joey Gallo now 4 for his last 31 times to the plate with 17 strikeouts. And Joey in the middle of trying to make adjustments, and that's a tough thing to do on the fly. Call strike 3. Credit Fernando Abad by painting the outside corner. One gone.
Let's see how close this was to the outside corner. In the vicinity, I guess.
Yeah. Echo pitch tracker showing you, well, if you hit the glove with the catcher set up out there, you've got a chance at it.
Yep. He hit the Murphy zone.
He did.
Only Murphy wasn't hitting.
Elvis Andrus drives one to center field. Burns on his horse back there and makes the catch.
Wow. That might be as far as I've seen Elvis hit one.
Yeah.
Right center field, 405 feet almost he hit that ball.
Well, that is out number 2. Elvis back to the dugout, 2 for 4 tonight. And Leonis Martin, the scheduled hitter, is pulled back. And Hanser Alberto will come off the bench. Right-handed hitter to get a pinch hit here in the 9th inning. We have not seen Hanser in this series against Oakland. The Bod staring in for the signs. Hanser waiting. Off-speed pitch floats high and wide. Alberto at 258 with the average, no home runs, 3 driven in. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, the Rangers need a huge comeback if they are to avoid losing their first home series in their last 5 trips here at Globe Life Park. Started the season 0-5 with 1 split in series here at home. Then they have reeled off 4 straight. And after dropping last night, in danger of losing this series to the Oakland A's. Bod working on the Ephus pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Kendall Graveman started, went 7+ innings. Gave up both runs on 8 hits. Edward Mujica worked an inning. And now Fernando Abad has worked 2/3 of an inning, bidding to complete this A's win over the Rangers. The A's have put up 8 runs in each of the first 2 games. Again, this offense really going crazy. Oh, there's another one of those Ephus pitches, and Alberto had seen it enough times. He waited and just drove it up the middle.
He waited on one of the other ones. It was just so far outside he couldn't do much with it. That one was in a spot where he could handle it.
He hit this one like it was thrown.
Yeah. Kind of served it right past him. You threw one at me, I'll throw one at you.
Well, Hanser Alberto with a pinch hit single.
That's a good feeling to be on the bench for 2.5 hours, come up, get 1 at bat, get yourself a base hit.
Now Carlos Corporan turning around to hit from the right side of the plate. And Abad misses outside for ball 1. Carlos drove in both Ranger runs back in the 5th inning. The 2-out double. 189 the average for the Ranger catcher. 1-1 the count. Not only the Rangers in danger of losing this series, they are in danger of losing 4 straight ball games for the first time since the end of April. Strike 2. Last time that they lost 4 straight was the season. It is a season high. That's the most they have lost in a row. 27th of April through the 1st of May, and then they really turned things around, took off from there. Since May 4th, 29 wins, the most wins in the major leagues in that span. 1-2 pitch. We'll try it again. Rangers 2 runs on 9 hits. They have stranded 6 tonight. The A's 8 runs on 14 hits. They have played errorless baseball. The A's have left 11 on base. Corporan back in. Hanser Alberto at first base. Fernando Abad reading the signs. He's ready to work. 2-2. Abad back to the plate. And it's fouled away. Crowd tonight, 34,216 on hand. Many of them have headed for the exits. Or sitting out in their cars listening to the game on radio, making sure that they don't have to come back in very quickly.
Ready to come back.
Yeah.
It'll take a pretty good rally, though.
Another 2-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Well, Abad gets a couple of strikeouts in the inning. The Rangers get a hit but strand their 7th runner of the night. And the A's have won this series as they win the first 2 ball games, with the 3rd coming tomorrow afternoon. The 8-2 the final as the A's win their 2nd straight over the Rangers. We'll come back and wrap things up for you from Globe Life Park right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.